Hello there everyone and welcome back. I am going to try hard mode, I suppose is how I'm going to phrase it, since we are going to be utilizing the Shroud fleet, and while it's a figment of its former glory since way back when I first started with this fleet, the capture time on the objectives was the exact same for every single ship in the game. It would capture at the normal rate as what the light cruisers currently are, but with the changes that they made for all the higher class tiers to basically capture like 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, up to 5 times with the battleships, and of course nerfing the frigates to be half speed, this is not really as practical a fleet anymore, simply because of I can invest all that time trying to grab objectives, and a single battleship can very easily ruin that without really so much as trying, I would imagine. Unless they have to go so far out of their way where I can maybe punish them. Since that is kind of how this fleet's supposed to function, like a lot of the hit and run type of fleets, is try and spread them out, force them to grab objectives, and then hit them, at least chip them down, while they're not able to focus their full firepower on my fleet. But I don't think it's going to be, well, what am I trying to say? I already hinted at that it's going to be difficult, but we're going to try for victory nonetheless. There are a lot of other subtle nuances from then when I was utilizing this fleet and now. Mainly, the 2 charges on all the boarding, as well as the Doom Scythes, hurts their longevity quite a bit, but at least the Shrouds don't rely on that as much since they're entirely lightning arc based. They have quite a notable amount of firepower with the 5 of them, and with the Shroud trait, I can at least take advantage of my stances, at least for a limited amount of time before I get revealed, and they also have extended sensors which does have some interesting synergies with the Nightmare Shroud here. I don't know if I'm going to go so far as to use this upgrade, but if we're face off against orcs, maybe even against Drukhari, I wonder if that'll work against Drukhari even if I don't see them. That would be an interesting thing to experiment with, but wish me luck with this endeavor. Okay, this is going to be interesting. We're face off against the Azuyani, and it remains to be seen if they're utilizing torpedoes or not, since my Doom Scythes can do well at dealing with the bombers to a limited extent. It's just a question if they're going to be trying to screen with fighters if they're going the carrier route. But torpedoes, even though I have the high agility and the lowest, not lower but smaller profile on these ships, I can't quite dodge them the best, or at least of course, Necron rely heavily on the Star Pulse generator for that kind of situation, so this will be interesting. And I am wondering if I want to disperse Lightning Arc to kind of maximize my damage potential, or stick with Reload to try and kill one thing as quickly as possible. It comes down heavily to what kind of fleet we're up against, that's of course the main thing. And I want to grab objectives too, so ideally I want 2 frigates to grab points and then the rest to kind of harass and scanner pulse with my ships here, especially when I utilize this structural analyzer to increase my critical hit chance. It should be pretty potent if I can get those generator hits, but depending on, again, on what they're utilizing, I may want to destroy the engines instead. I want to say this is a less experienced player, and I want to say these are light cruisers actually, which is why we may have a chance here. Since they have 2 engines on these, I was thinking of prioritizing the engines simply because the cruisers at least only have a single engine, a single solar sail to them. So crippling their speed is a lot more easier, as well as crippling their falls maneuver that way. We're going to give this a try. My opponent's probably really weirded out with what's going on, since they probably are not expecting a completely invisible fleet. And actually, my Shrouds are going to reveal them relatively well too with the extended sensors. So I don't need these frigates to actually do anything aside for a scanner pulse. And it might be important when we get this engagement going too. I don't know how exactly the points line up if I should expect a frigate of some kind, but it would have been visible as well if the fact we're seeing all light cruisers is kind of a tell, kind of a giveaway. And at least, let's see, they're about to grab that momentarily. So these are light cruisers and these are fighter bays. Actually, let me do the Disperse Lightning Arc. Maybe a terrible time to utilize it, but
You have seized a strategic area.
it's there nonetheless. Nope, I want the board. I am not getting the boarding attempt I want. And we're going to use this to try and murder them, because, yeah, they're just conveniently standing still for me. So just make sure they don't hit this one ship while I disperse lightning arc everything, I guess. And the one beauty of this is it maximizes my damage if the one ship... Well... I just don't know what to say, in all honesty. Sure, it was a less experienced opponent. That was kind of a given. I am sorry to my opponent for what just happened there. Good God. That is not the result I was expecting, because we've seen how quickly that one light cruiser was dying to the pulsars. So if they were able to keep mobile and keep at range, which is easier said than done, because keep in mind, Necron are probably one of the best type of fleets for at least engaging the Eldari, outside of like ramming and burst damage. Since these things have perfect aim, negate a little bit by the hull field, keep in mind, but they also follow and track the ships. So Wraithbone shift, changing direction, doesn't really allow you to avoid them. It's just pure 50-50 chance with the hull field at least fully charged. Okay, we're going to try something a little bit different. Stealth Wars it is. So this is an awkward predicament for me, since if I choose to use the beacon, which in theory should not be a bad thing just due to the sheer mobility I have with this fleet, I can reposition and kind of use the flagship as a bait for misdirection purposes. Whereas when I had to fight Tyranids with orcs, it's a bit of a different story just because they're a lot slower and a lot less mobile. But it goes without saying, how do I want to approach this? Also, let me make sure my control groups are in the right position so I'm not mismanaging them. A beacon without a doubt is necessary, although since I can't kill their engines or anything like that, I'm wondering if Lightning Link is worth it or not. It's very unlikely to get the damage I want out of it, since I am without a doubt going to need a beacon of some sort. Actually, let's swap it around just for convenience sake. I don't have the slightest idea how I want to fight this, since they can, as soon as I reveal myself, they can potentially double rush me. But hey, I do have the convenience of inertialist drive to get away. Maybe I'm not as terrified as I should be, or maybe I'm more terrified than I should be. It's just, I'm not oblivious to the fact that once they're on me, I'm probably going to die just to boarding damage. And hell, I don't even think I need Tesseract Crypt, since Pyroacid Fleet relies more on fire damage than critical hits. Morale damage is not helpful. It's the honest question, what are upgrade to get? And I can't see an alternative, with that said. So I'm gonna stick with it nonetheless. Nope, I can hear them. And we'll have these frigates serve as a bit of spotter. And my frigates are just gonna grab points. And actually, since I gave away where I was with Via Beacon, where would I be safest? Just away from the objectives. It's gonna cost me if I'm too slow and draw it out too long. Kind of like that Chaos match when I went up against Tyranids, how just playing too passively cost me the match and not so much the damage potential, since they managed to get all the objectives. So it's a frigate there. I'm gonna have to keep in mind where they might be. And this beacon will... It won't really cover this side pretty well, but I'll have a scanner pulse to help with that. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna have to turn around. Boarding parties are conveniently moving over here. I think they're actually, well, they're not really exploring the objectives. They're more just maybe covering the gas clouds, if I had to guess. This one's on the objective. This might be on the gas cloud here.
Inferior vessels sighted.
So what are we looking at? Pyre Acid. Okay, so that's the tell I kind of need, but I'm okay in that regard as far as since I'm immune to fire results. But even then, the boarding results are going to be amazing regardless for them.
What is your command? Relocating.
I'm going to get conveniently revealed here.
How may I serve?
You have seized a strategic area.
Alright. Let's get the Doom Scythes to kind of distract a little bit, I guess.
As you command.
Because frigates have been spotted last.
How may I serve?
We're gonna. There's nothing over here, so that's always a plus. So I can get 2 objectives relatively safe.
Inevitable.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
I am the
And keep in mind, this is a Kraken, so it's gonna have durability to take this hits pretty well.
ready to serve.
And I did scanner pulse, so I'm relatively safe for now.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Wow, are those Doom Scythes actually gonna well, we found the fleet at least.
All power to motive units.
And we can get Fire Assault critical hit there on that pretty well. Wow. How the hell did those Doom Scythes succeed? That I would love to know.
Initializing motive power.
But they are deathballing.
How may I serve?
Let's get these in close range. Because critical hits are going to be pretty nice on this. And the Scanner Pulse will help compound that some.
Inevitable. Relocating. I serve your glory.
Pretty awkward, but I don't want to fire a beacon just yet, because that would give away my position quite well. But I can Scanner Pulse to get some more damage in. I just want to be ready to do said damage.
Ready to serve. What is your command?
You have seized a strategic area.
Okay, they're rushing with everything forward.
As you command. Motive units.
Oh, that wasn't exactly what I want, but it happened nonetheless.
Initializing motive power.
And where's that Foy Lurker going?
I serve your glory. Yes, my
Thankfully, I'm immune to fire assaults now. Just gotta make this work.
march.
Can we at least cripple this thing hard? Thankfully, I am strong against the morale damage. That's all I can really say in this regard. Launch fighters. Now that terrifies me, because they could double boost potentially right now. But thankfully, Shroud is going to help some here. I just need to keep hitting. That's going to be the hard part right now. And conveniently, my flagship has to be the one that's right in point blank range too.
Moving. Ready to serve. As you command.
At least we're close to killing this thing off in a hurry, but the point defense just immediately is killing off their Doom Scythes.
Reassembling coherence.
Now, I don't have any Doom Scythes to kind of help with Scanning Pulse just yet. There.
Inevitable. How may I serve? Initializing motive.
Can we kill these? Because we're really close to killing off 3 of these actually, and I want to kill all of them.
All power to motive units.
Your engines are gone, so that's really bad timing right now. So, if I could somehow take this flagship out at the same time, or not flagship, but this hive ship, that'd be great. And sadly, the morale damage is definitely going to be felt. Give me the damage I need, because I definitely need the damage. With the deck permanently gone too, and there's no way I'm going to recover that.
What is your command?
Meanwhile, let's just try and grab these objectives, because I could still get the critical hit bonus on these.
Phasing complete.
And interestingly enough, that'll be the one ship left if we can somehow kill off this one thing. I don't know why you're not boarding, but okay.
Enemy vessels.
Well, I'm a little bit shocked. We are having 2 matches. Well, both are wins. Sure, my opponent did not have the upgrade for Synaptic Link. But even with less experienced opponents, was expected to be a lot harder fought for me. And thankfully, the damage potential did carry through there. Really damn awkward for my flagship conveniently being the first ship to get jumped on due to where it was, I guess, throughout the course of that fight, but it's a victory nonetheless. Okay, Chaos this time around. And this one I should be really well equipped for, unless they're Acrons. The Lances, with the perfect range and, quite frankly, over double the range of my ships, can be a bit of a problem just because of the critical hit potential they have on light cruisers. Since I'm pretty certain Necron don't get any additional resilience for always being vulnerable to a random critical hit screwing them over after all. I'm pretty certain of that, but I don't want to find out the hard way, and I'm sure you can't blame me for that, since I'm all light cruisers, so I have no resilience to said critical hits. If at least in the world I'm envisioning. But we don't need this beak anymore, that's always a plus. Actually, I want to swap these out. There. Lightning Link's good for when we ideally kill the engines, since I doubt we're going to get a lot of damage with it otherwise, since it has a whopping 3-minute cooldown to it. But I don't recognize that opponent, but they... looks like... well, Season 3, so they were actually playing at least in this previous season. So we can't get too excited. I don't quite recognize the name. I don't even understand the name either way, because it's kind of jargon a tiny bit. Either way, we'll see if somehow the streak continues. Sure, I may be benefiting quite a bit just because of less experienced opponents, so it is kind of convenient for me, I won't lie. But let's try and somehow make this work still. So right off the bat, Mission Dissipator. And it's looking like 4 Grand Cruisers, maybe 3 battleships, and a cruiser of some kind. Well, that definitely answers the question if it's a less experienced opponent, because they would not have sought to maybe use a beacon otherwise. And it's actually going to work well for them, I'm afraid to say, just out of random chance. Oh god, is it just me or is this battle station at the top here being corrupted by something? I know we're in the warp. At least that's what the background implies, but good god. I was not expecting this. Now I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, dodging the beacon. I'm probably not going to get objectives all that well, but that's kind of what these frigates are for. Hell, I want them together to kind of speed up capture progress, but since we're relatively safe from this fleet for the time being, I kind of can just have them spread out and maybe grab as many separate points in case this drags out. Now, the main thing is to watch for when that stops, because I could get revealed. Oh, we found the light cruiser. That was I was thinking that was brace for impact. It was not brace for impact, alas. So that's the one problem with these Necron ships. All their hotkeys are completely different. It's really... well, I kind of suspected it was something like this. Now, they have extended 6 sensor range too. That's another factor to keep in mind. Alright. So they are pretty much hitting. This is definitely just... this is really damn convenient for my opponent, since once that light cruiser spots me... there's not a whole lot I could do about that.
Yes, my liege. How may I serve?
Now let's try and make this difficult for them. Hopefully, that will get their fire arc to be separate to some extent.
Ready to serve.
Yeah, my opponent's just conveniently grabbing these points there, so
I am the dynasty.
not a lot I could do in this regard. And once I'm revealed, I'm probably pretty screwed just by the sheer amount of lances they have.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
The one plus side I can get out of this is my opponent, at least the light cruisers down there, and they should not have any frigates of note. But there goes my strategy of trying to grab any form of objective.
On the march.
But we can cripple these quickly if I can hit them.
What is your command?
But I need to start striking really soon. And we're about to get in range.
Engage weaponry. Yes, my liege. Drop void anchors.
I didn't mean to double pulse, but I guess it happened nonetheless.
Spear.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Moving.
Yeah, fortunately my opponent's just gonna run away there and then not a lot I could do.
Relocating.
And even the beacon's kind of in an awkward direction as well.
As you command.
So I'm likely just gonna lose this because of the objective here, because grabbing this point doesn't do me much good because I'm gonna be vulnerable taking shots from their lances.
Initializing motive power. I serve.
And that was just unfortunate there.
Yes, my liege.
I'm not expecting a lot to happen here, I'm afraid to say. Because again, my flagship now conveniently being revealed, or just the front line, the front man in this group.
Inevitable.
But I can jump still. Well, no, that's not the ship yet. And the engine's kind of destroyed right now too, so.
Drop void anchors.
The enemy has accumulated.
And the light cruiser is also gonna spot us in a moment here.
Points.
I am the dynasty spear.
Give me my jump.
Sighted. As you command.
It's pretty much screwed, I'm afraid to admit, but let's see if we can make this work somehow. Because right now that should be out of range. So now let's somehow
Relocating.
get the damage necessary, because these have really bad turning speed. With reload I can jump a lot faster.
Inevitable.
Now I just gotta get out of this beacon, so maybe I could conceal myself some.
Moving.
Not gonna help too terribly much, I'm afraid to say.
Initializing motive power.
Because right now, as it seems, we're not gonna have...
I am the dynasty spear.
Unless I can neutralize points or do a lot of damage right now, this is going to suck.
On the march. Inferior vessels sighted.
I am on their blind spot though, so that's always a plus, but... Yeah, can't grab these objectives very well.
Yes, my liege. As you command.
Now, where's the rest of my fleet? I need to start revealing these ships. I'm in their blind spot.
Vessels sighted.
It's conveniently working out to an extent. I just gotta get him out of this gas cloud first to really do damage.
On the march. Ready to serve.
No worthwhile critical hits just yet, but I could jump them in a moment's notice.
How may I serve? Inferior vessels sighted.
So I'm not too worried just yet.
Motive units fully engaged. What is your command?
Now I gotta actually prioritize my targets. That'll help a little bit here. And ideally I like to board the one ship that's kind of being crippled right now. That'll help a lot too.
Relocating.
Now, I see really good potential, maybe, to hit with a lightning link. How am I going to manage that, though, is the question. Well, I think that answers the question there.
50% of strategic points.
So this thing is sadly dead, but if it can do the damage necessary, then it's worth it. Very unlikely. And I want to board that one ship to at least prime it for death. That should be dead if I can get another hit in, and then I want to board this thing.
Yes, my liege. Motive units fully engaged. Moving.
So, what are we looking at so far?
Swarms have breached the enemy vessel.
A lot of health, that's, well, it's not terrible just yet. That's going to take a lot of boring damage. I'm still likely going to lose just due to the objective, let's not kid ourselves. Which is one of the examples why this can be really difficult for this type of fleet.
Assembly coherence.
And that is really close to basically losing his crew. Just got to wait 18 seconds there. Engine's permanently gone, so you are a prime target for additional boarding. Sadly, not a lot I could do here just yet. If I at least can win the battle, I will be happy with this exchange. That's all I could really ask for. The hard part is making that work. Especially, yeah, deck's gone, so you're fleeing. So that's rapidly not going to happen anymore. My opponent's committing to this exchange. So I guess maybe you can grab the objective, at least neutralize and give me some more time. And I think I should try and regenerate my health to help with the morale. That's the main benefit there, and if I can last long enough for... well, the boarding damage might actually kill that ship right now. If we can get the critical, 60% chance this one ship gets derelict. Nope, wasn't meant to be.
Void anchors. What is your command? Inevitable. Energy to recoalescence.
Now, if only we had our flagship not get to be the prime target when I try and jump and maneuver like I did. Because having that extra damage would definitely be really damn good right now. Because I can easily just kill off the crew here. This flagship might cause problems for after a bit. And thankfully torpedoes are not too terrible, but they're going to kill me over time. I just don't have the firepower anymore with nearly half my fleet gone. And of course being out of my reload stance doesn't help either. Well. That's why the flagship... dang it, I don't even have I don't have the regular boarding assaults either. I would have to kill the shields if I want to actually board that thing. So that's a little unfortunate. The flagship... well, that I was not expecting for a life of me, but... I think it's officially over no matter what. I can't kill 2 battleships worth of health. Not without additional abilities. Well. Yeah, I'm not really putting a lot of effort into protecting my flagship either, to be fair. I'm just letting auto-deployment do that, in which case, the flagship's over on the far left, which sadly screwed me over quite a bit. Leaving it in the middle, at least in that respect, would have helped a ton. But just having the beacons, the extended sensors, it seems like I was metagamed a bit. Or it was just dumb luck. Okay, Tau, and not only that, I believe it's a Tau merchant fleet. I'm almost certain it's the Tau merchant fleet anyway. It's been so long it feels like since I played Tau, let alone against Tau, that I forget what the icon difference is for which subfleet. Either way, I do have Doom Scythes to help a little bit at getting the fighters away, and if I position myself properly, my inertial drive should be able to easily deal with the Seeker missiles. In combination, of course, with the Assault running. I don't even need a gas cloud to kind of help with that front, outside of if I get randomly scanner pulse, which is always a possibility. Now, with that said, let's actually have this in the middle, and at least a little more protected. Ideally, well, the celestial body makes it a little bit difficult to do that properly though, but I was going to have it maybe hang back a tiny bit, so it's a little more easier to kind of screen and shield. And see if this helps me a little bit or not. It is definitely awkward to utilize the transdimensional bolt, but if I had that flagship throughout the majority of shooting those battleships in the ass, that could have made the difference, and the lightning link did its job. We've seen that firsthand. It's just a question if the flagship still would have been alive to do a second one.
I serve your glory.
So let's see. So we're looking at possible custodian here. Even two custodians, I want to say. Okay. That explains at least one of them is maybe a light cruiser, or it could have been another frigate. We're getting lucky on the least experienced opponents, but hey, there was some real potential to at least beat that battleship fleet. It was just, again, my own mismanagement and a little bit of inconvenience having the flagship kind of get isolated there. But I didn't take the deployment all of that seriously, is the main reason for that though. Since for some reason it likes to deploy the flagship on the far left, probably because it's the first ship in the group. Only thing I could think of, honestly. But I would like to also try and grab more objectives. We've seen where the frigates are. It's probably completely unnecessary, since most of these battles don't really come down to the objective, outside the last one, which I would have lost anyways, with how close I was dying. Let's see, I gotta pay attention to those fighters too, so a protector of some kind maybe? Could have fairly easily been a demiurge. It's been a while since we've seen some demiurge. Kinda makes me want to jump back into town to play around with the war spear and all that. For that reason alone. Now, do I actually want to jump on this point? Because a lot of the reason why I'm not having the light cruisers grab any of the points, because that kind of gives away where maybe the majority, where the majority of my fleet is, just by how quickly I grab objectives. If my opponent's not really privy to that, that may not be a big deal. Or not be able to take advantage of it is what I'm trying to say. They may not realize it's like my entire fleet here, and they may think it's something, well, I wonder if they're even aware of the capture speed difference for the ships too. That's another factor. Either way, we'll see if this gambit pays off or not.
Strategic area. You have seized a strategic area.
Okay. Oh, it is a merchant fleet. Okay, that was mainly what I was curious about. And we have a bunch of frigates for some reason, so it seems.
You have seized a strategic
Alright, battleship. Sadly, that has the 83 armor, so that's going to be really hard to kill, especially with it being immune to critical hits as well. So I like to jump these things. Almost to the point that I would love to just actually jump it right away. Sure, that's revealed. That's not a big loss. I really am tempted to just jump these ships. I am benefiting a little bit from their lack of stances and inexperience though. So that briefly revealed them, but only briefly, and they were only frigates, so I'm not too concerned just yet.
Seized a strategic area.
I still would like, yeah, and that's a battleship too. Keep an eye on how quickly that gets negated from considering my 5 ships, because technically that battleship should grab that objective in half the time from what my light cruisers just did.
Yes, my liege.
So I want to go have something a little more prized.
Inferior vessels sighted. Moving.
Engines are conveniently hit there. Permanently gone at that, and I didn't even use a scanner pulse on that thing just yet. Sorry, Auger Disruptor, not meant to be. This time I'm actually willing to go disperse Lightning Arc. And that should help kill these ships a lot better. A lot quicker. Can we kill off these frigates? Because they are definitely going to be the biggest problem I'm going to have. Oh, they have a Demiurge as well. I wonder if they charge that or not. That's going to be an important factor here.
On the march. All power to motive units.
So I guess I know what I'm going after next. I just got to make sure my stances are back up. Well, I have the gas cloud to help with that too.
What is your
Conveniently. Well, let me repair this deck. Do I need to repair the deck? I have the Tesseract Crypt, so that's not really a huge loss just yet. Outside the morale that I might lose.
how may I serve?
Another 20 seconds. I'm comfortably just launching all these fighters to try and do damage to this thing. Hit it hard. Hit it right where it hurts. And actually, this might be a good opportunity for Lightning Link as well.
What is your command?
I need to wait 18 seconds for it to actually work though. Or at least be available.
Seized a strategic area.
Relocating. Reassembling coherence.
So, gotta be ready for the Cunning Beam. That's gonna really suck here.
Motive units fully engaged. On the march.
I got out of range, so I failed that attempt.
Drop void anchors. Initialize motive power.
So let's at least do the Lightning Strike, since technically the Lightning Strike does the same amount of damage as the Boring Assaults because of the additional portals.
Shroud strike successful.
And that's not a big deal, I'm afraid to say, because I have scanner pulses to help with this. But we're back to square one. We're in a situation where I'm going to lose quite quickly due to the objectives potentially, if I'm not careful. And this thing has really quick at turning.
The enemy has
I was hoping they'd do a lot more damage to this thing, especially hitting its arc. Oh, I never did change to reload. That's part of the problem, isn't it?
Weapons array.
Yeah, and there's the Cunning Beam, so they got a full charge on that thing, so
Moving.
let's finish this thing off quickly while we can. Wow, what happened to you? I don't think I launched any fighters on you, so I'm a little bit shocked by that revelation. Now, we just got to kill this thing, and it can turn quickly at that.
Drop void anchors.
There, we're hitting, if only partially. I would love to jump away from this thing. How are we looking on Inertialess Drive? Everything can jump. Outside the one that jumped earlier. And there's 30 seconds until the Tesseract... What was it? Pyramidal Reconstruction. That's the word I'm trying to think of. Till that's back online. And if I could kill the ship, that helps. Extra morale damage is good. And I can weather that storm really well. It's the ramming damage and boring that probably will hinder me quite a bit.
Drop void anchors.
And here comes the Seeker missiles, so let's watch for them.
Your command. All power to motive units.
And I might as well launch fighters even though it's the flagship and has to suffer from double the cooldown. It will deal with these Seeker missiles quite well in the bombers. Now, let's disengage. Oh, they have the Mist Seeker turrets as well, oddly enough. That was not what I was expecting. Let's do more damage and keep an eye on my health. I actually would need to start regenerating, if it's at all possible. And since I just jumped, I can't do another lightning arc. Or lightning link, rather. But we are at least neutralizing the points, so we may not be winning on the objective front, but we're at least speeding or slowing it down so I can do potential damage.
The enemy has accumulated 50% of strategic
Now, time to get ready to jump. Maybe something was about to jump. Although I need to kill this thing. It's hard to do right now. Now, finish this thing off and that should be over. Just watch it melt.
You have seized a strategic
Supercharged void shield's not enough, I'm afraid to say.
Initializing motive power. Inferior vessel sighted.
Alright, so this fleet definitely does have the durability. I'm a little bit shocked we didn't have as many engine critical hits as could have been done. But again, less skilled opponents, they may not have been prioritizing properly. It's entirely possible anyway. Because we do have to keep in mind... Let's see. No, that's not the... I'm trying to figure out where it is. It says there's a 30-second duration or cooldown before critical hits, or at least light critical hits, are repaired. I'm just trying to find where that is. It was a fun match, though. They got their Demiurge to kind of murder my light cruiser. Which was a little unfortunate, because I didn't realize that thing could turn so quickly. Unless they had the upgrade, that would be the exception. That would make sense. And they didn't actually have it. So yeah, fresh new opponent. It was a fun match though, but I think that's a bit of a demonstration where this fleet can falter a little bit just because of how quickly the ejectives rather are kind of stolen from me. I can't just fly around through the back door away from them and grab points and then just dart off. They can very easily just go back over and grab it a lot of times. As we kind of see with those chaos ships no less, and they don't even have high energy turn. So that was really inconvenient for me there.